Hear me, hear me. I'm going to see if you can hear me. I will try to see if you can hear me. Give me a moment. And so until I can tell if you hear me, I will just keep making noise. I mean, I see the bar, kinda, and the camera, so I'm I'm trying. Okay. Can you hear me? Hey. So it's not terrible. And you don't have to hear all the breathing noises, which may not be whatever for you. I know that you can't see anything right now. I'm like running the same setup that I did the other night, but from a different angle. See? I'm on the couch. So yeah. I don't know. I've been wanting to use the End Dreams Oracle deck, and I didn't realize it until yesterday. Well, I've been wanting to use the End Dream Oracle deck, and I've also been wanting to combine the Wild Unknown Tarot and Animal Spirits because it's been a minute since I've used these together. The Lamb is at the bottom of the deck. I'm so far away. I am so far. You won't be able to see anything. And I figured out kind of sort of how to shuffle a little better. The interesting thing about like watching a reading as opposed to the Empress. Oh, okay, well the Empress is on the floor now. The Son of Wands has dethroned the Empress. Just kidding. Well, I guess it can. Oh my gosh. Now the birds want to be in the video. You probably, I mean, you can't. I'm saying you probably can't see the words as if there were any possibility that you could. They like, so I have a balcony and it's a lot of wood and there's a wooden rail and they'll like stand on the rail and just like chirp. They'll fly up onto the window and chirp. They'll like look inside. I can tell because like I have blinds and they'll go like above the blind. Like they looking at me, look at them. Also, oh, hold up. I don't want reversals. No reversals today. The lamb and the Empress. Oh, see, I thought I had gotten a hang of shuffling the deck. I think the trick is to let go. When I try to shuffle both of these together and hold on to the bottom of the deck like that, it does this and then things get like weird. But if I kind of like raise and let go as they fall, it makes it a little easier. If I sound nasally or whatever, it's because allergies are real. Oh, yeah, you get to see the card on the bottom. And that's something about watching the reader versus being the reader, especially if you have context or a personal synchronicity to whatever it is that like you're seeing at the bottom of the deck. I don't know, anyway. I feel so far away. I was like, oh, and also like, oh, give me 1 second. I'm gonna adjust the blinds to allow a little bit more light this way. Oh, almost knocked over my water. No. There we go. Now, I don't know if this will matter too much because I don't know where the sun is. That was a negligible amount of difference, but it's fine. Now the blinds are facing like this way. to allow a little more light in here. Anyway, I have the In Dreams because I've been wanting to use them. I have the Water Gnome Tarot and Animal Spirits because I've been wanting to use them combined. I realized the other day that I had a perfect opportunity to use the In Dream Tarot when Duma, the Angel of Dreams, came out, and I completely missed it. I wish that lamp was on. There's no great lighting in here. I guess there are these lights over here. Because the lights in this room are like literally right here. So it's great for like, because natural light comes in this direction and also the lights are up in this direction. So like back here, I have that, but when there's a lampshade on the lamps, then they don't necessarily illuminate. I'm looking here like my camera's here. They don't necessarily illuminate like I would want for them to. But anyway, the Five of Swords and the Ten of Swords just came out on the table. Interesting. The Five of Swords, these are both cards that we've seen recently. The Ten of Swords is the Destroyer in the SKT, of course. The Five of Swords we've been seeing in the Fable Makers animated tarot. And it's talked about, it's had an energy of like a mental resoluteness that leads to like an indomitable spirit. What's at the bottom of the deck? The Six of Cups. Oof. What is this for? What is this for? I don't know. Am I keeping these? Yeah, I'll take them. Let's do a quick, short reading. So, I wanted to use the Fable Makers and like read what is static versus what is changing. Obviously, I'm not doing that today. Did y'all saw that, right? Okay. So under the Ten of Swords, we have two birds on their side, the owl and the swan. Now the owl and the swan have pushed this Ten of Swords up a little bit. Over here, we have two tarot face down under the In Dream. So I'm going to get an In Dream. Let me get one of these. I have two more. Then I'll flip whatever's soup. Never mind. Number 31. Oh, we have a seahorse, which is interesting because the seahorse, I think this is the sea dragon. It's because of the face. The face that you probably can't really see. There's like a Two of Pentacles energy here because of how you can't really see it. Now, what I could do is, oh girl, hold up, because I don't know what this is gonna look like. This can look all types of crazy. Crazy! It's looking real crazy. Okay, that's not terrible. Oh, yeah, that's not terrible. I know I already said that, but I can do one of these. Since my laptop is there anyway. Sorry. Okay. I could do one of these and then just go like this when I want to show the card. Kind of. I don't even know if this is reverse or how this looks. There's the glare. But you can see what I'm talking about, right? There you go. How it's like the two sort of orbs separated by the whatever. That's why it's giving me Two of Pentacles. I feel a cough in my throat. And it's also because the face, it's giving me a little bit more sea dragon than just like straight up seahorse. It's very dragon coded, which is interesting because that was that masculine energy. 31. Make a change, transform. And this is the element of water. Feel energized. Anything is possible. Then the quote is, I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions, by Stephen Covey. There was a Covey at my high school when I graduated. A lot of people liked him. I never had him. Under this, I picked it up in reverse. The Hierophant and the Mother of Wands. Ooh, there's a cough. Ooh, it's deep. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, I can do this. The Hierophant and the Mother of Wands. This Mother of Wands is interesting because the last time we saw the snake in Xanthosis, the yellowing. The last time we saw a snake in Xanthosis yellowing, it was a little itty bitty snake around a big egg. I'm not a product of my circumstances. I'm a product of my decisions. Feel energized. Anything is possible. So I had a no procrastination breakthrough a few days ago. Could have been when the sun was squaring Pluto more exactly. Could have been around the time Taurus season really started. But I was sitting on the couch and I had this no procrastination breakthrough of like, even, and I know like this is dumb, but for me, this is a breakthrough. And that's a true, genuine insight into who I am sometimes as a person. But I had this realization. I was sitting on the couch and I was like, even if I don't feel like doing something, I can still do it. Like, even if I would rather do it later, I could do it. Like, there's nothing stopping, like, cooking is something that I want to do more of, especially now. But I'm always like, oh, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I never feel like it. And when I do feel like it, I'm not necessarily in a position to do it. But I was just like, even if I don't feel like cooking, like there's nothing stopping me from doing it anyway. I was like, oh wow, like even if I don't feel like doing whatever, like there's nothing stopping me from doing it. And I was like, for me, my mind was blown. And I bring it up here partially, I don't know if it's because I am a product of my decisions or if it's the anything is possible in this. So maybe this Five of Swords is a little bit of a breaking away. Excuse me. Excuse me. I don't know where such a deep cough is coming from. I feel like I didn't have it before, like literally just now. So we have the owl and the swan on this Ten of Swords. which the Ten of Swords isn't. The Ten of Swords isn't necessarily a card of deep reflection. It can be, especially in the 8, 9, 10 Gemini sort of series. Like from the Eight of Swords not being able to see something to the Nine of Swords, like seeing something but maybe not necessarily feeling like someone can do anything about it, to the Ten of Swords, like finally doing something about it or something being done about it. It doesn't necessarily have to involve deep internal reflection, but this one does. Excuse me. And it's because of what the owl means for the swan. Also, we have the bull that is on the receiving end of these 10 swords, and the Hierophant that came out kind of sort of in reverse. The bull is Taurus, the Hierophant is also Taurus, typically. Or it's associated with Taurus. Sometimes you'll see a cow on it. I'm like looking at this camera, like you can see me. So maybe I will put these in reverse there. I mean, they came out on the side, just like these two did. So I almost wonder too if this isn't a cross section of energies. I'm gonna put this back more so like this. Because like this, and I don't want to press down too hard because this table like raises, and if I push down, it'll like slam. So it's almost like, because this was like this, and when these came out, I kind of like pushed this one up. So these are like, this is an intersection, and as these are moving through, it's like pushing the Ten of Swords and the Five of Swords up. So I almost wonder if like this is where it's starting and this is where it's going to end up, or if these aren't two reference points like in the same energy. I'm not quite sure. Now, over here, the sea dragon gives this Mother of Wands, the sea dragon in particular, introduces a different direction of flow. So instead of energy flowing from masculine into the feminine, in the case of the seahorse or the sea dragon, it flows from the feminine into the masculine. And then we have the Mother of Wands, who like when I picked her up, she was in reverse, just like the Hierophant. Now, Hierophant in reverse over here, while we have the Ten of Swords upright over here with the bull on it, there can be many links there that aren't like it would make sense. This is a bull that's pierced by 10 swords, and the Hierophant corresponds to Taurus. So if the bull is 10 of swords and the Hierophant is in reverse, then it's not too unsurprising. Now, the Mother of Wands being in reverse in the case where the father would be the one that guards the eggs is also not surprising. So we have things, it feels like to just observe these things without any context at all would be very confusing. But with the context that's on the table, with us knowing what we know or seeing what we see, it makes it almost expected. I mean, it makes it very expected, honestly. Even when I'm not using the moving cards, I still kind of wish I had moving cards because this, again, like they both came out, and it's interesting too to have like two animals back to back that came out here, and then two tarot cards back to back that also have animals on them. One of them is a bird, so we've got the owl, the swan, and the crow on the table. We've got the snake and the worm, and then the bull that corresponds to the crow that also belongs to the birds. Now, the snake and the worm, similar in shape, different in appearance and size. But I guess like a baby snake and an adult worm. I don't know how small baby snakes are or how big adult worms can get. But if like you close your eyes, well, I feel like I don't know, because snakes are scaly, and I feel like a worm wouldn't necessarily be as scaly. So even with the sense of touch, there would be some key indicators. But I guess if you just look at it from afar really quick, then maybe anyway, it doesn't. Let's just try to stay on topic. Okay, Patrick. All right, let's go. There's again, it's just like something like there was this energy that came out, and then there's this cross section of energy that comes in, but as it comes in, it like displaces, it moves up the one that was already there. Now, I guess what's interesting is recently, I don't remember the reading. I don't remember which one it was fully, but I remember there was the core. It was like Earth, and you have the crust, the mantle, and then the core, the inner core and the outer core. And it was something about like the core pushing up to push up or pull to push up and out something rooted that doesn't necessarily need to be. But then that thing was like depending, it rooted into the core itself. And at that point, it's a lot more difficult of an extraction because it's penetrated to the innermost depths. So you can't necessarily push up when it's inside. You would, unless like if we look at the core as a whole, you go from the outer core to the inner core or the innermost core. If it hasn't, even if it's penetrated to the core, but not the innermost part of the core, then I guess it's still possible. But then we would have to. Oh, was that was the Dungeons and Dragons booster pack? Was that the most recent one? I think it was. I think because now I'm thinking about Gut the True Soul Zealot when I'm talking about the innermost core. And how we would have to go if it has penetrated through to our core. We would have to go to an inner more, if inner more is a word. We would have to go to an inner more part of the core if we wanted to push out from inside rather than trying to pull up from outside. I already forgot how I got there. Oh, because of this energy that's coming in, that's popping this other energy like up. And this is deep internal reflection. Somehow, because I see the reflection on the water in the swan card, and then the owl is also there. That's what gives it a more deeply internal sort of lens. So I feel like this is like a whole bunch of movement and not necessarily any context, which I guess is fine. Like I didn't come into this with a specific whatever, and this is also general. The black egg is at the bottom of the deck. The black egg speaks truth, and I guess an inner voice. The last time I went live, I think it was the last time I went live. When the chariot kept coming up, I saw the chariot in the SKT Revelations and it was on the water. And then I saw the chariot in the Fable Makers and it was like on the land. And it felt like something internal was moving almost to the external. The chariot felt like the Queen of Swords. That felt like whatever that divine element or aspect potentially was, or one's future self, one who has overcome what it is that they're currently going through at some point in time. But it was like that was moving from the water and the revelations onto the land and the fable makers. And I bring that up because this is a very similar energy. I guess that could be like if I had to pin it to an astrological movement, my brain goes Pluto retrograding for the last time from Aquarius into Capricorn. After this Pluto retrograde, it's going to be in Aquarius for a hot minute, even when it retrogrades. It's not going to be able to go back into Capricorn anymore. Unless you're looking at like Vedic astrology. Which is this new thing? Apparently. So I watched. Oh. I forgot about that. Anyway, I watched Everything Everywhere all at once 2 days ago. It was good. I enjoyed it, of course. And then, so Everything Everywhere all at once was about multiple timelines, multiple realities. I read the book. I finished it in like 2 days after I started reading it. It hooked me because it was this story told across 3 different lifetimes. It was like the same universe, but told across 3 specific lifetimes with the same sort of cast of characters played across different time periods. Um, there was the first time period, and then there was a time period where one character remembers, and then there's a time period where another one remembers. And at first, so when I'm reading the book, anything with that almost like sci-fi twist to it, I'm like, okay, I'm hooked. Because now I got to figure out like, so not only is the story unfolding, not only is each story from each timeline unfolding as I'm reading it, but also I'm trying to like figure out who is who from because it starts you in the middle timeline and then it goes back and then it goes forward. So as it's going like jumping around, I'm like, it had me until the end of the book. I enjoyed it anyway. So that was like multiple incarnations within the same universe. Everything all everywhere all at once was like multiple universes. And then I get on this anime season is Monday heavy for me. It was like Saturday, I think Friday, Saturday heavy last season. It's like Monday heavy this season. And I'm scrolling and I see a show that is the same as this other show, but it's told from a completely different perspective. Like there are kind of sort of two main characters. The original series is told from the perspective of the brother, and then this series is told from the perspective of the sister. And I just found out, I was like, what? Oh my gosh, anyway. What does it have to do with this? I don't know. I think I was thinking more everything everywhere all at once. Do I know why? No. Maybe it's part of the ramble. Um, but anyway, there's something here. The Empress. Oh, there she is again. And then the Seven of Pentacles is under that. Because it's pushing this Ten of Swords up, I almost wonder if it's like the Empress is Venus. Venus rules Taurus. So this is Taurus's second major. Because as I'm looking at it on the table, you can you can see what it looks like on the table. As I'm looking at it on the table, I'm like, oh, like it's pushing the swords out of the bowl. So then I'm like, so that's why I pulled a card to put up here, because like, what is it when the swords get pushed out of the bowl? Again, it's almost like the Eight of Swords, I think, in the Tarot of Dreams. Kinda. Like there's the person with the bubble, and then there are the swords on the bubble. So it's almost like it would start with the swords piercing somebody. There's something in an inner more part of the self that comes online, and then it begins to expand. And as it expands, it pushes up roots, it pushes out swords, and then we get Venus, which is the greater part of Taurus. If we look at Libra as masculine Venus and Taurus as feminine Venus, then someone, see, but I guess I'm not surprised because the swan, because of the reflection in the swan, because there are two swans here. I don't know what this means. I don't know what a lot of things mean anymore. I just read it. And then I go offline and I play my video games, or on the odd whatever, I read a book. I bought a book years ago. And I was going through, because I found out that my best friend's wife like loves the same series of books that I love. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I had to go and see like which books I have, because it's been a minute since I read them. And I found this book one of a different series from this author that I love, that I bought and haven't even opened. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got books at home. Anyway, okay, try to why I don't know, I forgot. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, because I read now sometimes. And I got another book that I want to read. And I got time right now. So the deep, so think of, and for some reason in the past few videos somewhere, there was something where I was like, oh, is this like Venus? Is this part of Venus's transformation? Because Mars has like played out more or less. Like that masculine energy has reassumed the feminine that was within it. And it's like now the feminine is going to reassume the masculine that is within her. Don't know what that's going to look like. But I was like, is this like part of her process? And now, because the Empress is here, it might be. The Empress was with Barometz, and the Empress was with the Lamb, and the Lamb was giving me Barometz. I was like, I know I saw the Empress. Okay. So, anyway, so Taurus is the feminine side of the Empress, Justice or Libra is the masculine side of the Empress if we're looking at the Empress as Venus. So this is almost like Taurus going within. This energy came out a long time ago. Back when my Mystical Mondays deck was still complete. This energy came out a while ago. And it was with, I think, Judgment and the Hermit and the Mystical Mondays, because those are two cards that it's something with the mirror. But it's like Taurus goes so far within that it emerges as Libra. The feminine aspect goes so far within that it actually taps into its masculine expression. And it's almost like that's why this resurrected bull is emerging as a whole Venus rather than the Hierophant or the 5, 6, or 7 of Pentacles. The part has gone so far within that it emerges as the whole. And for the parts that it can't see, the owl is here. And that's kind of the energy that Mars was in before. Like, that's what Mars felt like as we went into Aries season. That Mars had reconciled its feminine side. And so it wouldn't have to overcompensate in Aries season as hard. That's why I was like, I wonder if Aries season is almost going to feel more like Scorpio on land. And I guess now we're in Taurus season. So now we're moving into Venus's season. I should look before and after the Three of Swords. I mentioned Isis, I think, the last time I was live. I was like, because she comes out every time I pick up the SKT, the bereaved is there, or even in the High Priestess, Isis, at least in the Revelations edition, Isis still has an appearance. And then we have this. I don't know if this isn't just the seahorse that I'm supposed to be getting with this. Make a change, transform. Water, feelings, and emotions. Make a change, transform. This is a 10 of Swords that's being undone, which is a thing that happens in the show that I'm watching, the anime that I'm watching, that I'm like 5 episodes into. There's someone who has the ability to basically take someone to a state from before they got injured. So it heals them by like reversing what was done. But the person who does it, the healer takes on or bears at least some part of the pain that they're healing for the other individual. And there is something severed in this Five of Swords. So I wonder if, as this energy continues and pushes this up, if whatever wasn't severed is going to be reconnected. Can y'all hear that? Oh. So maybe this is, so it's almost like if there was a yin yang. I'm assuming you know what the yin yang symbol looks like. If not, I can just pull it up. Actually, I'll draw it because that will be even easier. How do I do that? I'll go here. I don't want a blank canvas. Please. Oh, that's not necessarily what I wanted, but it works. Let's go with this one. Ooh, crayon. Oh, no, chalk. We're going to do chalk. Yep, I'm feeling the chalk. So I'm going to try to match it. I think chalk was a good choice. So we already have this one. And there's a picture of the coaster on the community page. Oh, wait. Oh. I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, okay. There we go. We already have this as that coaster that I saw in a Walmart showed, where the masculine has. So this is like the masculine that has reassumed the part that was feminine as masculine. But now, so that one is its own thing. Because what this seahorse shows is something that might be a little harder to draw. I'm gonna have to switch to the color pencil. Do I have white? Okay. Oh crap. What? Oh, I love droppers. I was like, oh no, I have lost the color. So I'm just gonna draw this. Yeah, like this. So the top one has already happened. Has already happened. This is what's happening. So there's like the link between, like, this is why it's kind of hard to draw necessarily, but like that's how I'm seeing this seahorse as like that. So you see like the white part that connects those two dots, like that's this swoopy thing. So it's now the feminine is starting to reclaim that which whatever the word I used was, it as feminine within her instead of it being seen as this masculine thing within the feminine. And then like ultimately it'll be this, which isn't necessarily, it's the same in a lot of ways, but it doesn't have to discredit itself, or it doesn't have to credit another for something that is truly genuinely a part of itself. So that's why this seahorse with the Mother of Wands in reverse, but she's on her side. So that's this. Now, this I wouldn't necessarily say is like Pluto retrograding back into Capricorn by itself. That's interesting. Last time I was live, it was Angels and Alchemy. Why didn't I just title it Angels and Alchemy? Speaking of, hold up. I'm expecting. I was canceled. Wow. Wow. Sorry. Okay. This is only partially relevant. Let's go. What? Don't do this to me. Let's go. Okay, anyway. This also, because of how this looks, this reminds me of the Hanged Man in whatever tarot deck that was. It wasn't the Runic Tarot, and it wasn't the Tarot Apocalypsis. The Legends Tarot, I think. The one where it was the person hanging from the tree over the water, and like he was reaching down to touch, and then and his reflection in the water was also like reaching up. I haven't thought about those in a minute though. I don't even know around what time of year that was. I know I was outside sitting on the bench, so it wasn't in the winter, and it also wasn't when it was extremely hot. So it may have been around this time of year 4 years ago, because I feel like that was 2020, where it was a lot of that someone who goes, because it was an energy of like there are two interfaces of the internal and the external. There's the one right behind the eyes, but then it's possible to go so far inside that you end up on that interface with the outside again, and it's like this energy, the feminine who has gone so far within that she emerges or she taps into her masculine, but in a way that completes her femininity and makes her, hold up, that makes her whole. And it emerges as a full empress rather than just a singular expression of Venus, which is interesting, especially since we are fresh into Taurus season, right on the heels of full moon Scorpio tomorrow, or like tonight. I don't know the exact time. Within the next 24 hours, for sure, 36 at the very least. This Five of Swords is also interesting because that was the boon of the Empress. And here's the Empress. The boon of the Empress in that deck dungeon was to restore something natural that had been destroyed. And I was like, it doesn't have to be like an external natural because our connection with the divine is natural. And the boon of the Empress could restore that natural connection. And then here symbolically, as this energy, this subcurrent of the swan and the owl, the swawl, comes through and like ejects these swords, whatever this is will be mended. And then the Empress just happens to be right here at the same time. As this inner more energy is moving. Trying to think if I've seen the Hierophant. The Bestower did come out, and the energy of the Bestower had came out. In that last, again, it's the last Dungeons and Dragons Magic the Gathering cards booster pack. There was Mazzy, the True Sword Paladin, who, in the midst of completing her second and third task, something opened up in the forest. And okay, so it personally, it's fine. It's fine. There was something that had opened up in the forest. There was the tree, the pear that had matured and that had ripened. At the same time that the branches of the world, there's something going on with the world. Girl, I don't know. Metaphors. Um, but yeah, there was something that had opened up in the forest, and then the bestower was there. Like there's something that Mazzy gets for accomplishing or achieving, overcoming those trials. And whatever Mazzy gets never necessarily was revealed. Only in the deck dungeon, using the Fable Maker's animated tarot guidebook, did it have a table for boons. Was it like laid out like this is what you get for like overcoming the challenges? And I was like, okay. But one could probably assume that too, especially because Gut the True Soul Zealot was involved. So there's something that's involved that takes us even further beyond our capacity. But in overcoming that, we like the truths that we discover or the process of overcoming is even more rooted and even more ingrained in who we are. And again, there's something about this. I feel like, too, like this was, I don't know if this is necessarily the super flow. Because was that 2021? Was that 2020, 2021? Like 3, 4 years ago, maybe two. There was like the super flow that was like up here, where everything is like just so super quick and fast and seamless. But this super flow is coming in from underneath that actually like pushes things up. And like to raise the floor on something, um, for some may also be ideal because then at the very least the depth of the lows that you experience aren't going to be the same because you've raised the floor instead of just raising the ceiling and having like, so like let's say you start with like this bandwidth, but if you only raise the roof or raise the ceiling, then it's like you have all of this. But if you can raise the floor and you start here, then like you still maintain that bandwidth, but the lows aren't nearly as low. Especially like if you get this bandwidth compared to like this, you can experience anything between like here and here versus like you can experience anything between here and here. You know what I mean? From a very like understandable human perspective, I'd rather have this than like this, especially if like the cap is the same. So you're taking a good 10%, 15%, and like you're living in the upper 10 to 15% rather than having the entirety of that whole like bandwidth and spectrum. Like 85% off, 85 to 90% off. Yes, please. Especially if it's the upper 10 to 15. Yeah. Ooh. The black egg, the moon, the starfish, and the zebra. I like the black egg and the moon a lot. The thing that I like about the black egg here now, oh, look, more trees at night. Excuse me. The thing that I like about the black egg on the moon here is that it's giving me, again, like the Xanthos is yellowing, which was also about transformation. And this is about transformation. Watery transformation, Scorpio, Pluto. Oh, I didn't even catch this. We have the water and the swan, the air and the owl, the fire and the mother of wands, and then the earth that is Taurus and the Hierophant. Or just the Hierophant in general. Like the Hierophant is a very spiritual card, but it's also like earthbound. And it's about putting everything in context, like in a layman's terms. So we got the four elements down here. All this air up here, and then this is water, a watery transformation. But the thing that I like about this is it, like the Xanthos is yellowing, like the egg that is shaking, meaning it's about to hatch. There was something that the sustainer was keeping unborn in the starborn when we saw it when it came out. I'm pretty sure for the crone in the first sleep year video that I did. There was something that the sustainer was like not letting go of. But now there's an energy of like something hatching, of it like happening. Something's happening. What about this Five of Swords? Above the Five of Swords. I'm just like curious at this point. Above the Five of Swords. Oh! It's the Seven of Swords. More swords! Oof, and the Devil. And the Two of Cups and the Seven of Cups. 4 cards. Bottom of the deck is the octopus. I just saw a video with an octopus in it. There was like an octopus that had gotten on a boat or something. And they were trying to get it to go back in the water. It didn't necessarily seem too stressed though. Also, the octopus, I've been thinking about the octopus lately. Not necessarily too heavily, but how it came out in that one reading, and it's the flexibility of the octopus. And how, like, if I'm pretty sure it's its beak, like, if it can get its beak through something, then like the rest of its body will be able to get through it. Like the head of a cat. If a cat can get their head in somewhere, then the rest of their body will also be able to get there. And so, in that one in particular, it was talking about kind of sort of like reducing the size of our core or reducing our inflexibility. Because if the entirety of our body is rigid and stiff, then we would have to be able to fit our entire body into somewhere to get there. But if we could reduce our inflexibility, then all we have to do is get that part of it inside, and then the rest will follow. Now, the Seven of Swords in this deck in particular is my card of birthright. Whenever we come of age, or whenever we come of maturity, or whenever the conditions are fulfilled, then that fox gives us the seventh sword. And until then, it will hold on to it. So to have that here with this Five of Swords, where the swords are pushed out and this connection is reestablished, especially in the context of our natural connection to the divine. I'm like, to see the Seven of Swords as the top of this is no, like it's not surprising to me. Again, because of personal context for what this card means to me, which would be us like claiming that birthright, basically, or us. Oh, Phanuel. Phanuel, Angel of Truth, was the last angel in the Angels in Alchemy. And Phanuel is the one that waits at the throne for us to come and claim it. And then we have the birthright being given. Also, we could say that that was in the Champion and the Six of Wands when it was evaluated by the Necromancer, which is the moon in the SKT. And then at the very end, we saw the Bread of Life with the person like handing them the Ace of Pentacles. But I guess, yeah. If like someone's birthright was monetary, then the Ace of Pentacles could symbolize that, especially someone being given that in coordination and conjunction with the Ten of Pentacles, dynasty, fortune, something that's been handed down for somebody to use at some point in time. And then we have the Devil, the Two of Cups, and the Seven of Cups. Two of Cups and Seven of Cups is the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is a card of wish fulfillment. But why the Devil? I'm thinking back to the Lamb that we saw at the cut with the Empress. The goat and the lamb are different. Yeah. I'm thinking like, yeah, the goat and the lamb are different. Why am I seeing like rams? Rams aren't goats, but rams are lambs, right? Isn't a ram like an adult male goat? I'm not talking about random access memory or the ram animal or trucks. Come on now. They're like, a ram is a ram, duh. Yeah, a bighorn sheep. Okay, thank you. And a lamb and a sheep are the same, right? Is this a ram? No, that's a goat. I'm thinking of like horned goats and the bighorned rams. And I'm like, they're similar but different, right? Or is a horned goat a thing? Is it just a ram? I'm so confused. No, yeah, goats have horns. Okay, okay. All right, thank you. What is a goat with horns called? Wild goats. Cool. It doesn't seem like they curl like a bighorn ram does, though. Anyway. So maybe the devil is here because of maybe like devil energy is one of the key significators of whether or not we're ready to handle the responsibility of whatever this birthright is. Like if we would still succumb to devil energy, then we're not ready. Or because the Two of Cups is after it, I could see this as like one's own personal like inner demons. And it being like once someone has reached a sort of state of peace internally, then it could be given. Or it's what we find when we're not at war with ourselves. Given the wholeness of the Empress energy that's here, like I would say that's probably the most statistically likely way, or the most statistically correct way to read this, because the energy of wholeness is already here, represented in the Empress being a complete Venus, and not that's what Mars did too. Like there was a whole bunch of emperors, but the emperor was reading like Mars instead of just Aries. Anyway, this is reading like, again, because the Hierophant was in reverse over here, it's the entirety of Venus rather than like there's this aspect or side and then there's this aspect or side. And then also with the wholeness here, after we remove the sword, it's giving more of that. And someone who is like complete and whole within self that doesn't have a whole bunch of internal conflict, they're a lot harder for devil energy to get to. They're a lot more resistant to the temptation of devil energy, and some may even be immune. So it kind of sort of reads as the same ultimately. Now, the Seven of Cups on the tail end of that, if not just to make this a 2-7-9 of Cups, we have 6 cups pointed towards the moon. I saw the 6 of Cups at the bottom of the deck when these two cards came out. So, like before this energy came in and realigned, this 10 of Swords, 5 of Swords, like this configuration, 6 cups pointed towards the moon is the default. And then when these 6 cups also point towards the sun, that is the final piece or something. When those 6 cups also point towards the sun, and that it would almost be like when those cups point towards the sun, then these swords light up. Because one cup is already pointed towards the sun, and that's this one here. And also, it's the only sword that's facing in a different direction. Thank you. It's the only sword facing in a different direction. That sword always points toward in the right direction. That cup always points towards the sun. Always. But when the rest of these swords turn in the other direction, like that's how the fox in the Seven of Swords knows that it's time to bestow whatever that birthright is. When these cups turn to face towards the sun, that's like the indicator that some point within someone's personal evolution or growth has been reached. And we do that by like overcoming devil energy. I heard something. One second. Um, I heard something. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh no. The synchronicity that I didn't want. It's fine. I heard something maybe like maybe it was a year ago. I feel like it was 2 years ago. I heard something at some point. I feel like there are so many, like there are recent contacts and connections with these cards today, but there are so many from like years gone by. But I heard something, and I'll kind of paraphrase it, where I was watching a piece of something and I was like, whew, I'm the type of person where I feel like I question. I question if something happens because I know something or if I know something to prepare me for something happening. So sometimes if it sounds like something that I don't want no part of, I actively avoid it because I'm like, I feel like if I get too much information, I'm going to be asked by the universe to use it, and I do not want to have to deal with this. But what if that's not how things work? What if I got to deal with it anyway? And so I should take the information when I can because it's actually going to help me navigate it better rather than me going in blind. I don't know which is the truth, but there are some things where I'm just like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to have to know. But I came across someone. Oh, interesting. Anyway, I came across someone who more or less said that when Lucifer was created as an angel before the falling, like even after Lucifer fell, he still does what he was created to do. He just like goes about it in a different way. And so it's like in that context, like devil energy may be the tempter, it may be all kinds of things, and it may cause all kinds of travesties, tragedies, and things that we would never want to experience to happen. But it's almost like the point isn't to give in to that temptation. It's almost like the point is to know that we have that choice, to know that we have that option, to know that we have that power, or to know that we could do like that we could affect someone to that degree. But it's for us to choose not to. It's not for us to give in. So in that way, it's meant to be overcome. It's almost like when you take tests in school, the point is for you to pass them. I guess the teaching, the point of the teaching is that you pass the test, but eventually the test shouldn't be difficult. As you learn and as you grow and as you go from grade to grade, eventually, like you're expected, the hope is that the material is taught well enough that the test isn't even a test because you just know. And it's like the same is true for a devil energy. Eventually, in some way, shape, and form, or in somebody's version of reality. Hey, Holly, how you doing? Um, it's like it's not to be a slave to devil energy. It's not to be bound by those vices and addictions forever. It's like eventually the point is that something else is taught or instilled well enough that eventually devil energy is like irrelevant because it doesn't present anything that one would give into. Again, like very Jobian. Job is the one that lost everything, but whose faith in God was never shaken because Job's faith wasn't like materially based. Job's faith was based in whatever it was based in. And no matter what he lost, Job still knew that God was good. Anyway, when the 6 cups and the 7 of cups also turn to face the sun, when the swords also turn to face that direction, that's how the fox will know. And devil energy will play its part to keep as many swords turned to the right as possible. But again, there's one that's always turned to the left. Cool. I guess that's the energy today. Well, let's get one more of these because this was this. Let's get one of these for the Seven of Cups. That's not enough. I feel like that wasn't a. I don't think that flipped over. No, I just made a whole lot of noise. Oh! Oh, that's too many. I'm not taking all them. Okay. Do what you must and come what may, number 41. The bottom is number 35, which is this big four-headed fish. It's almost giving me, I don't know what that, I don't know what the name of that fish is, but I know it's Alamola in Pokemon. It's not a sunfish. Is it a sunfish? It's almost giving like sunfish energy. It might be a sunfish. If it's a sunfish, that'll be hilarious. That would be hilarious. Oh my. Is this a sunfish? Yes, it is. Okay. Well, this is the fish that I had in my mind. That is not a sunfish. That's not a sunfish. Let's go to Wikipedia. Well, kind of. It's something like this. It's like this big old flat fish. I don't know if it's sunfish-esque. Where's the book? Let's see. I'll do 35 first. Drink. Ooh, another water card. This is the water of dreams. Good things will come when you stay positive. You are the creator of your own destiny. Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda. You are the creator of your own destiny. Oh, sunfish also. I was thinking sunfish because the sun and also like the moon is here. But when those 6 cups also turn to face the sun, and then we get the sunfish energy, you are the creator of your own destiny, especially when you can overcome devil energy. Because as long as devil energy interferes, we don't create much of anything. In the presence of devil energy, it's hard to be anything other than reactive, for one, or to cope, for 2. Sometimes it's hard to continue in the direction that we were like going. But when that's irrelevant, let's just put it in reverse for funsies. When that's no longer a problem, I'm going to look before and after the 6 of Swords too, as like a final wrap up. And then do what you must and come what may. That's it. There's no extra anything. It's just do what you must and come what may. I do love that we have these 2 faces facing each other, giving me that wholeness, giving me that conversations that happen internally and stuff like that. Let's look at the 6 of Swords. Oh, girl, let's see. Thought that was like thick. There's a lot of cards to get through. Before and after the Six of Swords. Please. What is the Six of Swords in this deck? Oh, the Gazelle is with the Mother of Pentacles. I don't remember. There's the Six of Cups with the Scorpion tucked away. The Six of Cups is a Scorpio card. Second deck of Scorpio, so Scorpio Pisces. See, some of these are like, they stick together. Look how many cards I've had to go through. Here it is. Oh, goodness. The Fool and the Wolf. My arm is like. Then we have the Hermit and the Father of Cups. Father of Cups, fixed waters, Scorpio, and it's a black swan. The Hermit is. Oh, and then there's the Octopus. I guess the Octopus still wants to be seen. The Hermit is Virgo. Scorpio and Virgo are the cleaners of the zodiac. I call them the cleaners. Scorpio because of death and transformation. Virgo because of purification. Father of Cups and the Hermit. This is how many cards were left. This is how many cards I had to. I mean, having to go through all of this to get to the Six of Cups, or to get to the Six of Swords in the context of this is understandable. Not surprised. And then to be greeted with the Hermit. Now, the Hermit I've been talking about lately in the context that it came out in like a while ago. Where like the Hermit has at least twofold journey. There's a part of the journey where the Hermit goes internally with the light of the Hierophant, but then at some point the Hermit trades its own knowing for the Hierophant's guidance. And when the Hermit picks up the lantern of its own light, that light is capable of illuminating realistically, as if, realistically, everything. Practically a whole lot more than the light of the Hierophant. And we already saw the Hierophant in reverse. We saw this bull with 10 swords shoved in that are miraculously ejected. The Fool, the Six of Swords, and the Wolf. The Wolf is the one that waits on the other side of the veil, because that's how it came out when I was looking for the owls. The owls are the watchers, and the wolf was waiting. The wolf is maybe that Phanuel energy that's like waiting at the throne, waiting for us to reach a certain point within ourselves. It's almost like the fox is the one that bestows the birthright whenever the conditions are met. And then the wolf is the attendant that waits. The wolf is the one that's like there to answer questions. The wolf is maybe part of what we inherit. Something that I just said rang a bell with another part of the videos that have been coming out recently. The fox being the bestower of the birthright. I lost it. The Fool is a fool, The Fool is this like little baby bird. Still look like it's got all of its bird feathers, the baby feathers, and it's like ready to take that leap. Maybe this Fool is like, I'm a baby duck and ducks swim. and this branches over the water, I'll be fine. I mean, we have the black swan here with the fox behind it. And the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups behind the black swan. Or the Ace of Cups behind the fox. The Ace of Cups in this deck in particular for me is the wellspring. The wellspring is the place that the hermit reaches with its inner divine light. The wellspring is a part of the self that the Hierophant isn't able to guide the hermit to. At least how I read it. I'm not going to say that there aren't Hierophants that aren't specialized in helping people find their well springs or whatever, as this metaphor applies to whoever. But in general, it's not for the Hierophant to do that. The job of the Hierophant is to get someone acquainted with the divine. And then at that point, the divine shows and reveals even more to people, to individuals, which we kind of saw in the Hierophant from the Fable Makers, how the light from above was like bouncing off of their bald foreheads instead of it being the radiance of the Hierophant. And in that card, even the Hierophant is like looking to the side. And I think it's making the Hierophant like gesture. So it's like, don't look at me, look up above. Like, look up there. Don't look at me because I'm not anyone's God type energy, you know, like what the Hierophant is supposed to do. So anyway, the Father of Cups with the swan already on the table, the black swan. Father of Cups, Mother of Wands, also interesting because they are opposites, fire and water, and then masculine and feminine. Even though in the zodiac wheel it's what, water and earth. Isn't that interesting? That the compatible signs oppose each other, like water and earth, instead of it being like water and fire, and then fire and air, like air that feeds the fire opposes the fire, instead of like water that will douse it or earth that will like if you throw enough earth on a fire, you'll smother it. Earth that'll smother it or water that will douse it. Its opposite is the air that feeds it. Okay. Anyway, that's not the point. Also, what I like about this Six of Swords in correspondence to how I'm specifically reading it today is that above the rain, there's a rainbow. The Six of Cups that by default look towards the moon, and then we have this rain here in the Six of Swords, and then there's like the rainbow up above. If only the swords would look up to see that the sun is there. I think there's supposed to be some kind of comfort in the wolf and the fool. Almost like we're not expected to know. Like we're expected to be naive, we're expected to be inexperienced, and we're expected to go into something like completely blind and not knowing. Especially if it's a completely different kind of life or a completely different kind of experience. It wouldn't be very wise, if wise is the word, to expect someone to know much of anything about like anything that they haven't experienced. You know what I mean? Do what you must and come what may. Maybe that's an acknowledgement of free will. Do what you must and come what may. Do whatever it is that you're going to do, and whatever the consequence is, that's what the consequence is. Free will. This King of Cups, Black Swan, is also giving me the energy of the Five of Cups, grotesque. Sort of thematically. Cool. So maybe in general, It's I feel like there's an intended message of comfort of like, again, if you are seeking something that you've never had before, then know that you're not necessarily expected to know everything like right off the bat. I think sometimes for some of us, we stick to what is familiar, even if it's not great, over going somewhere that could be better, but where we don't know anything. Or when we do go somewhere new, or if we find ourselves somewhere unfamiliar, sometimes we seek the comforts of familiarity, and in that, we might fall into everything that we just left. And maybe more than what is purposefully withheld in the birthright of this, it's just more like things that we don't choose to do, options that we don't choose to seek, opportunities that we don't choose to receive or say yes to because it's unfamiliar and because it's strange and because we don't know whatever it is that we don't know. It's almost less like when this double energy is upright and all six of those cups face the moon. Again, it's less that opportunity doesn't find us, and it's more like, well, every time we get the chance, we choose something else, like self-sabotage, or just like not saying yes. But I feel like, again, that's more the case when this Five of Swords, Ten of Swords hasn't been like pushed up by the Swan and the Owl. I think sometimes just recognizing something is only a part. Oh, look, there's a Mother. Where'd she go? Mother of Cups, the Dolphin, and the High Priestess, and bottom three cards. I saw the Mother of Cups as I was picking up some of that. Mother of Cups, Dolphin, and the High Priestess. Hermit, the Beaver, and the Father of Pentacles, sorry. Mother of Cups, Father of Pentacles. I'm separating these. I'm splitting these apart. Cool. Let's see. I'll get final cards after. The Hyena. The Hyena has this like move. Oh, and the Moth. Love it. And the Panther is under this. I kind of love this trio. And the Fish is under this. I love this trio for what it represents. It's like the unseen side of things, or the things that we like downplay or try to hide or disguise with like humor or whatever. But with the Moth, that brings in a transformation for that side piece, part, and element as well. I like love how, okay, well, never mind. I was gonna say I love how like evenly shuffled these are, and then I get these like vast amounts of like one. That come out. I found that it's easier for me to do this on card back because again there are so many animals that are prominently featured in the tarot that sometimes I'll put an animal over there or vice versa. And it's much easier to differentiate those, the backs, than it is the fronts. Easier, like I don't have to think as much. Doesn't mean that I don't still mix some stuff up, because I do. Oh, I do, I do, I do, I do, I do. Cool. My arm is like, oh my gosh, my shoulder. Whew. If I do that about 10 times a day, that'll be my workout. The Three of Swords and the Mother of Cups. The Three of Swords in this deck in particular, I feel like does a great job at illustrating. Oh, I was looking at the hilt, the cross guard of this sword like it were a needle. And I was like, whoa, there's a needle for the thread. But you know, like a sewing pin, a pin. I was looking at it as a pin that would go into a cushion. But then I was like, oh, it's the hilt of the sword. The Apprenticeship. I don't even fully remember the high key. I'm sure I will at some point. I'll be like, oh, that's what she was talking about. I love how that Three of Swords illustrates. To me, I see it as three swords that are blocking a corridor or a pathway. And it illustrates all of the things that we would never choose, that we would like to choose, but that we don't choose because of whatever that Three of Swords is. Sort of the limits that we place on our lives. All right, final. Ooh, there we go. Thank you. Ooh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I love that combination. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Cups. There's the Eight of Cups again. Sometimes we just gotta let go. Sometimes we just gotta walk away. The Eight of Swords came out first, which this was so swords heavy. The 10, the 5, the 7. I went looking for the 6, and then here's the 8. So the only one missing was the 9 and everything before 5. Now, the only thing that's missing is the 9, because we saw the 5 and the 6 and the 7. I went looking for the 6, but still we saw it. I was like, oh, not the butterfly trapped in the cocoon, but the other card that flipped over inside the deck was the 6 of Wands, where we see the butterfly free. Now, these together is interesting. If this is all internal, this is someone who is already transformed in a way that they don't even recognize. Like someone who is already technically overcome something that they're struggling with. That's the 6 of Wands. That's this combination. If this is external, then like this could be people looking for us in places that we no longer are. Like externally, someone may see someone as like trapped or reliving the same whatever, but in reality, like they've already overcome. And I feel like for me personally, there have been like lulls in my journey. There have been particular moments in my life where either the decision that I was making from the outside or how I was living in a specific moment looked like something from the past, but it was completely different. Like when, like what was that? Early 2023? Yeah, early 2023. When I was at home between jobs, like getting a whole bunch of screen time, I was like, I've been here before. Unemployed and playing games. And knowing that I need to be like doing whatever, but like not. But then I was like, oh, like I'm getting paid like severance and unemployment. And I will be looking for a job. Right now, I'm enjoying my break because I worked for this break. So like it was completely different, but just to like be there in my body for a second, it was like, wow. And then there were times where I would make a certain choice or decision, but internally it was from a completely different place than it was in the past. And I was like I would recognize myself. I would be like, it looks like I'm choosing something that I used to choose, but it's for a completely different reason. Like it could be, I could see that being here. Also, these butterflies are two completely different colors. So if this is a transformation that we are going through, maybe one of the reasons why it's difficult for us to recognize is because it's not what we thought it would look like before we started going through this transformation, or while we were in the transformation, while we were in like going through something, being on the other side of it may not look like what we thought it would look like because of everything that we knew before. And again, this is kind of playing on the energy of that fool, where it's like it's perfectly reasonable to not know anything when you're brand new to something. If you have a whole bunch of trauma responses in a certain arena of life, it's completely understandable to be faced with something and not know what to do. Like if you have become accustomed to your trauma responses, then it's like it's understandable. And I think like I could see, I don't like, I almost wonder what kind of like tagline I would attach to that. Almost like reparenting. It wouldn't be like, maybe it could fall under the umbrella of reparenting someone's inner child when you're no, like when you're learning to live life outside of trauma responses, especially if a lot of those traumas are rooted somewhere around the inner child, then it's like taking a different path or doing something different. But yeah, it's just like not what was expected because this is a blue butterfly and not this orange monarch. Let me see something. Because I think the only reason why I know why a sunfish is called a sunfish is because of Animal Crossing. And I think I know what this butterfly is because of Animal Crossing. Psych! I thought I knew. Wait. Oh yeah, yeah. It's just, they're just different colors. This is a blue empress butterfly. I was like, all of these are orange. Hello? Because I know in Animal Crossing they're called empress butterflies. I'm pretty sure. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, it's the emperor butterfly. Just kidding. It's the emperor butterfly, not the empress butterfly. So we thought it was a monarch butterfly, or we would think it would be a monarch butterfly. It ends up being an emperor butterfly. I don't know what the difference is between an emperor and a monarch, but an emperor definitely sounds more like an emperor, and a monarch definitely sounds more like a king or queen. But it's like, is this the emperor butterfly in real life? Yeah, well, it's closer. Yeah, yeah, it's closer. Hmm, I don't know. Google it. Google emperor butterfly and see. It's giving me more emperor butterfly vibes. I thought it was the empress butterfly. It's the emperor butterfly, and that's the monarch. This is the emperor. Cool. Shout out again to Eve for the end dream oracle. They came in clutch today. I was like, I want to use this deck, but I don't know how. Or like when, more so. The snake and the owl. The snake and the owl. Interesting. The mouse and the snake. Interesting. So food chain. The owl eats the snake. Well, I guess owls eat mice too. Oh. The owl eats the snake eats the mouse, but owls also eat mice, I think. The owl is a bird and the bird eats the snake, so I'm kind of extrapolating over there. And then the elk. The elk has nothing to do with any of them, unless it's a baby elk. And a snake might be able to get its jaws around it, maybe. All right. Animal Tarot, final card. Oop. Of course. Ooh, the panther came out and the gazelle is at the bottom of the deck. I can't tell if anything flipped over. Yes, the golden egg, of course. The golden egg is what happens as the union. And then the swan. So, yeah, the swan is all about love. The golden egg is what happens when there is love between the gazelle and the panther. They give birth to the golden egg. What's inside of the golden egg? You are silly. Something that the world's never even dreamed or imagined of. Potentially. Maybe not. This is like all the way over here. Does it really? I guess that makes sense. Okay. And the end dream oracle card. Final card, please. Final card, please. No cards are allowed to go under the couch. Oh! This is hilarious. Why did I just start whistling? And then the bottom of the deck is this person with an instrument. Also, I went to a concert yesterday. So I saw many a people with many an instrument. Who is this? Number 22? Oh, number 24. Such an interesting card. And it's like when someone's like the way that you move is like music, this is who they're talking about. So apparently I was on theme because music 24 and 22. 24 is earth, 22 is fire. So fire and earth. So no air. I don't think I saw air the last time I used this either. Maybe I did. There was some element I didn't see. It's interesting though. I guess all the air came out in the tarot and some of the birds because we ain't getting no air from the end dream. So both of these are about conceiving. The earth of conception and the fire of conception. Conceive, create, and implement. So start a new project, follow your dream is the card that fell on the floor. The quote here is from Gandhi. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. So if we live as if we're to die tomorrow, then we're to learn as if we're constantly dying. Learn as if you were to die forever. I don't know. Learn as if you were to live forever. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. I guess in a certain type of way, if we talk about like death, rebirth, metaphorical Scorpio, um, so we're living in a way that acknowledges, it's almost like do the best, make the best of today with what you have, but continue to remain open to learning, knowing that tomorrow you're going to learn something that you didn't know today. Learn as if you'll live forever. And in that, again, it's like there's just this acknowledgement that tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after, if we continue to learn until the end of our days, then there's always going to be something that we can do better if we had more knowledge, insight, foresight, hindsight, or information. If we're constantly improving, then even the best that we have today won't compare to the best that we have tomorrow. And it's not, again, it feels like it's almost supposed to be some kind of like relief, meaning that like at different points, if we've made choices or decisions that we're proud of or not proud of, if we did the best that we could at that time, then we did the best that we could. We didn't know then what we know now, just as we don't know now what we're going to know sometime from now. Now, the fire of conceive, create, and implement, let your creative potential take control. Always dream and shoot higher than you know you can do. Do not bother just to be better than your contemporaries or predecessors. Try to be better than yourself. There you go. And then one that isn't music, but it's not. The seven, which honestly gives Seven of Pentacles energy because it's like growing things. It's water. Look for harmony and balance. Resolve your inner conflict. Resolve your inner conflict. Thank you for clarifying, entering oracle. What's the quote here? If you want to be somebody really special, be yourself. That is resolving the inner conflict. If you want to be somebody special, be yourself. That's like the Five of Cups, the grotesque, and the SKT. It's grotesque when we can't be ourselves. And so we do whatever people do when they don't feel that they can be themselves. But it becomes beautiful and unique and divine when we embrace it. So yeah, there we go. There we go. I feel like that 22, I don't know if I necessarily read her as deeply as I could, but you know, sometimes people are right. Everything ain't necessarily that deep. It ain't gotta be. So I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment with all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey will you find. Thank you, Holly, for spending some time with me. And yeah, I feel like these work. Oh, I'm gonna get one more before I go. If Duma the Angel of Dream, I know it's kind of sort of past, but if Duma the Angel of Dream could have said anything through this deck, if I had realized the potential that was right in front of me to use this deck when the Angel of Dreams came out, what might Duma have said then? Let's see that. What might Duma have come out, produced? Bottom of the deck is 14. Was it? Was that the reading where a 14 came out? And I was like, 14 is a 5, but it doesn't feel like a lot of other 5s. Like I don't often hear temperance talked about in the way that like fives are talked about. And then I said that like 49 was a five. 49 is not a five. 49 is a four. I was like, we have like 23 and 32 are fives and 50 and 49. I was like, no. 49 is a four. That's why. But anyway, 14 is at the bottom of the deck. It's this person standing with the hound, sort of like at attention almost. I feel like that's kind of sort of what they do. Hey, Matthew. Oh, I was like, you said night. And I was like, night? What? It's so early. Wait. Okay. So you're going to play the game Fallout. Because I think a Fallout series just came out. And if I'm not mistaken, I've heard good things about it. But I never really got into Fallout. So I haven't. I mean, I haven't watched Fallout, The Last of Us. I can't remember if the Halo series like actually came out. What's the only video game series I've like watched? I don't know. World of Warcraft. I watched the Warcraft movie because I'm a nerd. Air. We got some air. Demo would have brought the air. Okay. This is renew. Air external events. A new beginning is just around the corner. Get ready for a change. And it's a butterfly. Duma would have said a new beginning is right around the corner. Get ready for a change. Those who would like to be constant in happiness and wisdom must change often. And then the bottom of the deck is fire. Stop and get to know yourself. Keep calm and start your internal change today. A new beginning is just around the corner. Get ready for a change. Keep calm and start your internal change today. Life is 10% what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. Interesting. That's a lot of change. That's a 14 that reads like a change, like five. Like five. That's a 14 that reads like a five because five is a number of change. I feel like Duma, well, I don't know if Duma necessarily said it, but I'm pretty sure under Taurus, yeah, because it was Xanthosis and then it was Sun Splendor under that. And there was the energy of like a seed that had been planted at some point was about to sprout or blossom, or at least it was a lot closer to blossoming or sprouting. Yeah, bee rose, spring. That's what it was. Blossoming spring. I was like, we saw blossoming. So yeah, get ready for change. You can start the internal change. Changing externally, changing internally, changes all over the place. Changes. Mars, Neptune, Saturn, and Pisces, internal. Uranus and Taurus, external. And like a Uranus change, bringing about an internal change isn't necessarily completely unexpected. It just feels like probably more often than not. I don't know if it would necessarily be desirable. Because when I think Uranus external change, I think like something that may be difficult, but that it's ultimately like we'll know that like we want it. But the internal part of that feels a lot more demanding. It's almost like Uranus can bring changes that we're not necessarily ready for. And so, although externally we can recognize it to some degree, as like a change that we want internally, we're like, we can be like, oof, like big oof. But anyway, so it was good. I think Amazon Prime Gaming like had Fallout 76 free, maybe. I don't remember anyway. Anyway, that's what Duma would have said if I would have put two and two together at that point in time. I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to use the In Dreams Oracle. And Duma was like, now is your chance. Take the opportunity for what it is. And I completely missed it. But I found if I would have used it then, it wouldn't have been here today, maybe. So I probably wouldn't have grabbed it today if I had used it. I mean, I guess there's a potential that I could have still grabbed it because I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I'll grab that. So I guess I can't say that I wouldn't have grabbed it today, but the same impetus of like, I haven't used this deck, like really. And I want to like see, like it's calling me, kind of. Anyway, bye. Thanks again. All of the things that I wished for you 10 minutes ago, I still wish for you. And I still hope for you all of the best. And I hope that you hope for you all of the best. And I wish that you wish for you even more and even better. And the courage and bravery to do the tough things. Because sometimes when we are the ones living our own lives, we have to be the ones to do hard things, unfortunately. Or fortunately, because of what it builds within the self.